Welcome to episode 1 of the Defining Moments podcast, a podcast where we listen to the untold stories of everyday people and the moments that change the trajectory of their life. In this episode, I interview Angel Chavez, a former drug dealer and tattoo artist who currently is a martial arts practitioner and instructor at 10th Planet Oakland. In this episode, we cover topics such as addiction, breakups, near-death experiences, fighting, being racially profiled, our rights in America, giving up on life, and the joy of doing laundry. It's a long episode, but Angel has decided to share with us vulnerable personal stories that are amazing. And I hope you listen to the entire episode. Thank you.
They had hit Mike up. They said, hey, we're doing a movie. We need some action stunt guys or martial artists to be extras in this movie. We ended up being stunt coordinators. You know who Corbin is? He's a brown belt.
No. I met him, but I don't really know.
He was in the movie too. So the movie was about, it was supposedly based on this true story where these fucking Nazi dudes, hipster dudes, took over these bars or these clubs out in Berkeley, right? You know the Gilman?
No.
You ever heard of the Gilman? The Gilman is like this popular club out there in Berkeley. So
is it on, do you know if it's on?
Ashby, I think it's Ashby, I think.
Okay.
And they rented a building in Oakland and made it look just like the actual fucking building in Berkeley. Yeah, so they were doing all these stunts. Corbin had to shave his head, be a Nazi. He had to be a skinhead and shit. We were doing stunts with him. It was funny. It was funny as shit. But it's hard. Making movies is hard. I was an action extra, which means I was in the action. We were doing the fight scenes. We're using cables and harnesses and shit. People getting fucking thrown into the bars and shit. Yeah, it was fun. It was a cool experience. And late hours. Started working at like 3 in the afternoon. You get out 5 o'clock the next morning.
Wow.
Yes, all night. They would feed you and shit. They'd shuttle you to these little restaurants and they'd have food all ready for you and shit. But then fucking there till 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning sometimes. Dude.
So you were an extra in this movie?
Yeah. I was on camera a couple of times.
Did it ever release?
It's going to be released this year. Well, they said it was going to be this coming year.
Yeah.
Because they're still shooting. What's the dude from Pedro Pascal or something? He's in that movie. Yeah. Tom Hanks' daughter's in the movie.
I see. So you guys are shooting some scenes that are
for the fight parts,
but not related to these big stars. They're like in other parts of the movie, but you guys are. They're
more in the dialogue and the drama and the lines and shit. Yeah.
So you don't have any. They're not in the location that you are. Like
yeah. Some of them were. They would have to do dialogue in some of the locations that we were at.
So you got to see Pedro Pascal?
No, I didn't see him. Tom Hanks' daughter, I seen her walking around.
Okay.
She was like a producer, something producer or some shit. Executive producer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. And how did they choose you? How did you get this role?
They asked Mike. They were like, hey, you know any guys that would be interested? So Mike asked everybody in the gym, I think.
Wow.
And I was like, fuck it, I'll do it. I had experience. I've done a couple of other action scenes. I'm not a movie star, but I've done some movies. You know, It's just it's a way to make some money.
Yeah.
Right? And you get your little credit or whatever, and it's fun. I mean, I've been called to sets where the director, whether it's music video or a movie or a miniseries or whatever, some of them are fucking assholes. Some of the crew are fucking assholes. Some of the other co-stars, or co-actors, they're assholes. And I'm just like, you know what? I don't even want to deal with this shit. I'll just leave. You know what I mean? It was cool, but nah. But then there are other people who don't have a budget. They don't have money. They're doing this shit on their own. They ask, hey, man, can you help out? And I'm like, yeah, fuck it. They'll buy you lunch or whatever. They'll compensate you some way. And those are cool people to work with. But there's some good people and then there's some bad people. And for the bad people, I just don't even fuck with it. I'm not trying to be a movie star, but I'll have fun trying to play in your movie, right? Fuck it, why not, right? It's fun. I had missed a whole month of teaching kids class. Oh my God, it was terrible. And I was, Merritt College? No, Laney College, right? That's where we were all that was the headquarters. Where all the trailers were, all the makeup was, all the wardrobe, everything was there. They had all these big, huge trailers, and you go there and you check in. You have to get COVID tested, and they dress you for your wardrobe to make sure you were wearing the same shit that you were wearing in the last scene, right? For continuity.
Yeah.
And I was like, the exit before the gym. So on my way to go see the movie, to go start working on this movie, the next exit on the freeway was where the gym was. So it's like literally like 5 minutes away from where I was at.
So you're feeling guilty about it?
Oh my God, I felt terrible. I felt terrible.
Did you like just say, hey?
It was supposed to be 2 weeks.
Okay.
Ended up being a month, right? They were like, oh, okay, well, your 2 weeks is over, but we like to use you for some more scenes. If that,
But at least they paid you more.
Oh yeah, they paid me more.
Was it good money or?
Oh, it was good money. It was good money, but it was really hard to be away from the kids. One of the last days, I didn't see them for a month, 3.5 weeks, and one of the last days for our shoot, I was like, man, fuck that, I'm gonna go see these kids. Right? They're gonna have to wait for me. Fuck this shit. So I stopped at the gym, and all the kids ran up. Coach Angel, like 10 of them. They all just ran up and hugged me. And I was like, son of a bitch. This is what it's all about. When are you coming back? I'm like, I'll be back. This is the last day. I promise. I promise this is the last day. But it was an experience. It made me realize how much I really worked with these kids. You know what I mean? I thought I was just some dude. I'm a blue belt.
Yeah.
I'm just a blue belt. I got black belts and brown belts teaching kids. Who am I, right?
Yeah.
But it's obvious. You walk into that kid's class, it's obvious who all the kids look up to. They look up to me. Yeah. They listen to Coach Steve.
Yeah.
They listen to Coach Corbin.
Yeah.
But they're fucking, I have this connection with them that they don't.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's the thing about kids is like, the kids are not, they're not there to be the best at jiu-jitsu. Right.
No. Right.
They're there to, I think, experience the community, to get approval of the adults. I think, right. A lot of times we're looking to, like the notice me senpai.
Yeah. No, I see what you're saying.
But all I'm trying to say is like, I think the blue belt, black belt, like, I think that stuff matters less to them. I think it's more, which is the funny thing about, I think, adults is like when we become adults, we're looking at people's titles and statuses and
I think it helps you decide where you are on the food chain. When you're a white belt, you're nowhere near the top of the food chain. When you're a blue belt, you're still nowhere near the top of the food chain, but at least you understand that there's a food chain, right? Yeah. Right. So as kids, I think they don't really look at it that way. They just look at it as we're doing something fun. We're learning martial arts, and a lot of those kids, their classmates are also in the jiu-jitsu program with them. So they see each other after school in jiu-jitsu. And I think they're just trying to understand where other options in their life are. You got math, you got English, you got science, you got history, you got what's jiu-jitsu? Let's go find out, And they get to let out all this energy. Yeah. I mean, we make them work. We make them sweat. We have to. That's partly what the parents want. They want their kids to come home, eat, shower, and go to sleep. They want them to be wore out. Yeah. So we try to wear them out, right? We definitely put them through the ringer. But for them, I think it's just mostly having fun. It's kind of hard to explain to them. I haven't told them flat out, we're teaching you how to fight. Yeah. Right. I wanted to say that so many times, but I don't think it's like proper to tell them, hey, we're teaching you how to fuck somebody up. Right. I don't think they understand that. I think if I do say that, they're probably going to look at it way differently. Right. Yeah. But we are teaching them that what we're doing is dangerous. what you're doing can really hurt somebody.
Yeah.
And you have to be careful with your training partners, right?
Mm-hmm.
We also teach them that if you come into an encounter where you have to use your self-defense, first step, choice you can make is to run and get away from there.
Yeah.
If you can't run, use your training.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to use your training.
Do you guys, are there techniques that you don't teach them because they're too dangerous, or?
They're still white belts, 3, 4, 5 stripes. 3, 4 stripes, and they we're not teaching them leg locks, heel hooks, or anything like that. We basically ran them through like chokes.
Yeah, well, that's the ironic thing, right? Is that in the competition world, we don't let people play with heel hooks because you can injure people too fast. And but the truth is that like chokes in some ways are more dangerous than leg locks if you give it to the wrong person. Right. And I think that like when I was in middle school, my brother's 5 years older than me, and so we're watching him, and he had some wrestler friends, and they're watching UFC. I started watching UFC, and we learned rear naked chokes. And when I was a kid, I had I don't know, I guess in hindsight, kind of a hurt ego or whatever, and I was a small kid, and I kind of wanted to, I had some problems at home, and I think that I wanted to, for whatever reason, wanted to feel a sense of like power sometimes over other people. And so sometimes I would put people in a rear naked choke. I think happened a couple times. One time this friend invited me to his church, and there was like I don't know why, man. There was something just not right with me, and I put this guy in a rear naked choke for just to do it for like 5 seconds, something like that. And
he went out?
No, he didn't go out. I don't even know if it was 5 seconds. And back in those days, I don't know if my chokes were that good back then, in the sense that I wasn't going elbow deep, right? It was more like flat, which is like more of a trachea choke, and like the kid threw up.
Oh.
Yeah, and so then it was a Korean church, so all these ajumas, like the ladies, were like, what the hell? Like, who is this guy? But no one, they actually didn't really even scold me, and which is the surprising thing. And I think that they probably just didn't know what to do. Plus, I'm like a new guy; they don't know me, and also it's church,
Right.
It's like you gotta forgive, or I don't know, man.
Right.
Like I just
could have gotten in trouble.
I could have gotten in trouble. No, there are many times in my life I could have gotten in trouble, and I think I think that was the only time I really choked someone. I think, that I can remember. I'd have to think about it more, but in other ways, I used to do kung fu, and there's just some dumb things that I did as a kid, just like leg kick someone, like, dude, that I just God, it was just so dumb. And those are the times where I just kind of really just hurt someone for no reason. And then there's those other times where you kind of get in an ego battle with these other kids in school, and it's like we're playing bloody knuckles. Sometimes you're going bodies going bodies in the lockers at my middle school, and you just want you want people to watch, because you're like, you're trying to show
Look
that
how tough I am.
I'm tough. And it was, I think for me, it was a thing of hey, I'm like this really small kid in school,
right? But
I was known to be able to hang with these really big tough guys at school, and so I got into little scuffles with them. Nothing too violent, and that's the other interesting thing I think about fights when you're with kids. I think a lot of the parents think that the kids are angry at each other, or they're fighting because they're they got beef, but usually it's not really that. Something. You're just trying to prove something, yeah. And so, anyway, yeah. So there was one time, even in middle school, where I was had this fling. Well, I started dating this girl for a few months, and and she was a senior in high school, and I was a freshman, and so she was going off to college, and I was like, I was a naive young person, first girlfriend, whatever, and I was like trying to make it work, and I'm gonna drive to UCLA, and it was like you're just a little kid, and but after she realized it wasn't gonna work out, and totally understandable, but from my perspective, I didn't understand, and so I started this little fight club at the park.
Oh my God.
Yeah, God, it was like, oh my God, it was like I brought the MMA gloves, and I brought the I was just trying to organize.
This was out here in the Bay Area?
No, I grew up in Torrance in Southern California.
SoCal?
Yeah, and dude, I freaking uploaded these videos on Facebook, and I had been taking a break from my kung fu studio, but I think my master was kind of disappointed in me.
Yeah.
Disappointed, and I don't know if I think I might have explained to her later, and she I don't know, she maybe understood. I mean, she had her problems growing up too, but I was like kind of in that, actually what it was in hindsight was that I think what it was is that when you feel rejected, or someone leaves you or something like that, you're thinking like, how do I get this person back? And I think that my strategy has always been, well, let me do something impressive.
Right.
Right. And so, I look at what are the things in my life what are the skills that I have and the things that I can do that can make someone say, wow. Right. And so,
yeah.
So I'm like this was I think summer after 9th grade. So actually it was in high school. At the end of the day, it was an ego thing, trying to impress people. And anyway, so like we were sparring. I was sparring with this guy, and he was like, I was probably like 5'4" back then, or something. Probably
tiny,
maybe less, 5'2" or something. And I was like 95 pounds, something like that, between 90 and 95 pounds. And I was fighting this guy who was like, he gotta have been like 160 probably.
Damn.
Big guy. And I could stand with him on the feet. I took him down. I finished him with an arm triangle. Yeah, I don't know if I still have that video, but
on Facebook.
Yeah, well, I deleted it, and there's this whole story behind why I deleted my Facebook too. But story for another time. But anyway, the point was that you teach these kids these techniques, and I mean, you brought this up when we talked last time of like, you can give you can make people dangerous, and if they're, I think the thing that I'm realizing is that people want to do the right thing most of the time, and what we don't realize is that there are just times in life that everyone goes through where you're not in control of yourself.
Yeah.
And so we have to kind of be mindful that people will hit those times in their life.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And instead of just always looking at people and going, hey, oh yeah, that's a nice guy. Oh, that guy wouldn't hurt anyone. It's like, you have to think about it in the long run, I think.
No, absolutely. I mean, I strongly believe that everyone has some battles that we're all facing. I mean, it doesn't matter how much money you have, doesn't matter how many kids you have, doesn't matter where you live. We all have something that's pulling you down or holding you down, whether it's mental, physical, emotional. That's the human experience, I think. I mean, if you didn't feel anything ever, wouldn't that suck? All right.
Yeah.
I would rather feel some pain than feel nothing. Right.
Yeah.
I'd rather feel some happiness. Everybody would rather feel happiness, but sometimes in order to know what happiness is, you got to know what sadness is. Right.
Yeah.
You got to know what feeling good feels like, being healthy. But you got to understand what pain is.
Mm-hmm.
It's like my knee or my leg is fucked up right now. But when I feel better, oh man, am I going to feel better? So you'll have to just go through these things. They're learning processes, they're growing processes, and that's what I'm trying to teach these kids is that some of them have gotten injured, and I tell them like it's just part of the game. It's part of the game. You're gonna get mat burn. You're gonna get a sore muscle from an arm bar, or your neck's gonna hurt because of your friend trying to choke you out. But those are just part of the things that come along with training jiu-jitsu and other martial arts. You're just gonna have to learn how to manage those things. Getting rest, putting ice on it, putting a Band-Aid on it, whatever you got to do, And for me, that's what it's teaching these kids is how to be accountable for all the things that they're learning. Because I think that's one of the things that nobody's really teaching anymore is accountability. I mean, you can teach construction, you can teach coding, you can teach all kinds of shit, but you can't teach accountability. I think.
What does that look like? How do you teach that?
For me, I try to explain to the kids, like, this is your gi, this is your rash guard. You got to wash it when you get home. I tell them the steps to don't put it in the dryer, let it air dry. Your mouth guard, you need to bring your mouth guard to class because your teeth are going to get knocked out, and you have to make sure that you wear it, right? When you come to class, make sure you have some water, right? Those are just little basic things that an adult should know. By the time you're 15, 16 years old, 18 years old, you should know that you have to keep your clothes clean. You have to take care of your mouth guard and just basic shit. Brush your teeth.
To me, that seems like kind of a on the border of responsibility and accountability, because everybody has to do those things. Otherwise there's consequences, like brush your teeth and wash your stuff, be on time. But when I think of accountability, I think of, hey, when you do the wrong thing, we as your friends are gonna hold you up to that. We're gonna enforce the consequences, so that you don't then have to face the accountability of like the law later.
Yeah, we make them sit out of class sometimes. You didn't bring your mouth guard, you can't roll. Sorry. Their kids, their teeth are gonna fall out regardless. But we teach them like, hey, you know what? You bring your mouth guard, and the parents are like, oh, I'll go home and get it. Go get it. Go get it. We just don't want the kids to get hurt. We have a good track record of nobody getting seriously injured. So we're trying to keep it that way.
So how did you get into jiu-jitsu in the first place, and then how has jiu-jitsu changed you?
Well, I started looking into it in 2017. I was living in Stockton. The Diaz brothers had just opened up their gym, and I was living in Stockton, working in Alameda every day, and I was trying to do murals out there in Stockton, because Stockton is, if you've ever been there, it's pretty ratchet out there. And there's some places that I looked into where I could paint a nice mural on their wall and help make the community look a little bit nicer, and make some money.
How old were you at the time?
2017. I was
6 years ago.
I was like 35.
Okay.
35 years old, and I went into the Diaz brothers gym, and I talked to Nick, and I was like, hey man, I'm trying to do some jiu-jitsu. I'd like to paint your gym, right? They have windows all around except for their two back walls, and they're all white. I was like, I could paint some murals on the gym. He's like, yeah, well, come throw me some ideas, shoot me some ideas, and we'll go from there. So a few weeks went by. I just never got a hold of him. And I ended up moving back out to the Bay Area. 2018, I believe. 2019, I was on Facebook. I seen Eddie Bravo talking about, hey, 10th Planet Oakland is coming soon. Stay ready. Be ready. We're coming to Oakland. And I was like, oh, shit. I was like, well. And then they threw a $99 special. So it was $100 a month if you sign up within the first 30 days. And I was like, $100 a month is shit, to go learn martial arts. Let's go. I already knew what 10th Planet was. I knew who Eddie Bravo was. I know the Rogans and all the. I was like, let's go figure it out. And I walked into the gym. I'll never forget. I walked in the day before they opened. They were still like putting the floors and the mats in. I was like, oh man, it was a shoebox. It was a shoebox. You remember that?
Yeah.
You remember that place? I was like, all right, well, let's learn jiu-jitsu. And I met some of the coolest people there. I mean, law enforcement, doctors, mailmen, teachers, mothers, fathers, just normal everyday people, students, retirees. I meet old people there, and they're all doing it. And I'm like, I don't have any excuses then. I'm from Oakland. I knew what 10th Planet was. I was like, just kind of like, what's crazy is that the day that their grand opening day was my mom's birthday, 2019. And I was like, I guess I belong here. It kind of just had this deep meaning that my mom wanted me to be there. And I was like, fuck it. Your mom's the one. No, she passed away in 2012. Yeah. So I was like, fuck it, I'm doing jiu-jitsu. And then, like I said, I fell in love. I fell in love with the culture. Made a lot of close friends. I love my coach, and then, started competing. But it changed my life in a way that it helped me look at things in a more calmer way. Anything in life comes with a level of difficulty. But jiu-jitsu, when you get in and you get on those mats and someone's on your back with their arm under your chin, there's nothing more difficult in life than trying to get out of that choke. So I look at everything else in life as like, it's everything. Nothing is that stressful. Nothing can be as stressful as someone trying to break your arm or trying to choke you between their legs. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I get what you're saying in the sense that when you're in that moment, there's this like sense of desperation. Like you're like, okay,
high stress,
especially if you're in a competition. But even in when you're rolling, you just feel like, okay, like I'm fucked right now. Like you're just like, okay. But
my arms are tired, right?
but I would say, at least for me, I felt that desperation in a different sense, for the things that really mattered to me in life that were not physical. Like it's not like a death, like a physical death, but it's more like a spiritual death or like an ego death, something like that, where you feel a different kind of desperation. And for me, that's been, I guess, I don't know if it's more intense. It might be more intense, at least emotionally it's more intense, but it's more, at the very least it's more prolonged. Right? Because in when you're rolling, luckily you can just tap. But life, you can't just tap. Well, some people do. Some people do in a sense, right? And
too many.
Yeah, too many, and it's going, and it's getting worse. But but all I'm trying to say is, well, now that I've said that, have there been those moments for you where you just felt desperate, like you can't get out of this, almost like life has you like in a checkmate,
Well, yeah, I'll never forget this. There was just one time, it was one of the really pivotal moments in my life. You could probably edit this out later if you need to. I don't know, but so I had just overcome, like I got a DUI in 2012, something like that. And almost 10 years had gone by, and I was about to get charged with a second DUI. So in the state of California, if you get a DUI, and then within 10 years, you get another one, they charge you with two. Now you get two DUI. So if you get a DUI in 2010, and then you get one 10 years later, after 10 years, then they charge you with the first one.
I see,
right? But so I was just closing in on the date where it was gonna be charged as a first DUI.
Yeah.
But this time I had a gun on me. Right. So I got pulled over for no reason.
Yeah.
First of all, they didn't pull me over for any reason at all. I just got off of work, had food in my car. I was on my way home, just pumping gas. I was profiled, right? And I'm not going to complain about cry about racism or this and that. You know what? I shouldn't have been at that gas station. Whatever. I'll take the blame.
Yeah.
Right? So they pulled me over. They had me do all these sobriety tests. I passed all of them as far as I know. And then I told them, hey, just give me the breathalyzer. Yeah. Right. Because by law, they're required to give you a breathalyzer. If they suspect you of being under the influence, you have the right to request a breathalyzer and they are required to give that to you. And that'll just help cut the stop right there. Boom, I'm sober, let me go. They said, no, we want to take you to draw blood. So they want to draw blood. I was like, what about my car? And I was like, we're not going to tow your car. We're going to take you to jail. We're going to draw blood and make sure you're sober. Right? You'll be out in a few hours. So I had a gun on my hip in a holster on the outside of my pants. So instead of giving me the breathalyzer, they came and arrested me, put me in handcuffs. Okay. And I was like, what's going on? He said, you're under arrest for suspicion of DUI. And I said, well, just give me the breathalyzer. I wasn't resisting. I'm in handcuffs. Like, just make this easier on all of us. Yeah. And they said, no, we're going to take you to the station. So they didn't pat me down. They just put me in the back seat of the car. And I had a loaded weapon on my hip. And
did they ask you about the weapon?
No. They didn't even know about it. They didn't even know about it. They didn't see it. Okay. So they put me in the back seat, and I'm like, this has got to be a fucking bad dream. This cannot be happening. Okay. This is is Ashton Kutcher going to jump out and say, you've been punked? Like, what the fuck is going on? This shit is not happening. So we got to the station, and they opened my door, and I said, hey, before we go any further, there's something you guys should know. I have a registered, unloaded, holstered weapon on my hip, right? And they, two young cops in their early 20s, they looked at each other, they freaked the fuck out. They were pissed at each other because they didn't search me. Wow. Right? They didn't have anything to charge me with in the first place. They had no justification to pull me over for in the first place. Wow. Now they got this dude in their backseat with a gun, right? Because they... Yeah.
But you were handcuffed.
Yeah, I was handcuffed. Yeah. And, I got out of the car. I put my hands as far as up my back as I possibly could. I told them, hey, look, the gun is over here. It's empty. It's not loaded. What are you doing with the gun? What the fuck? They're freaking out, right? Wow. And I'm like, hey, guys, let's just calm down. Yeah. Like, all three of us are in a real fucked up situation right now, right? More so you guys. Yeah. I said, I'm going to go to jail and I'm going to get out in a couple of hours, but you guys are kind of fucked right now. Let's just relax. Yeah. Right? And I knew that they picked on me. They see me at the gas station. They were at the stoplight. They were looking at me. They were like kind of making jokes between each other. I seen it. But I wasn't making a big deal. Like, I'm legit. I got my license. I got insurance. I got my registration. I'm sober. My car doesn't smell like drugs or alcohol. Yeah. They were just fucking with somebody. They wanted to fuck with somebody, so they got me. But I felt like I went to jail and I called my buddy and I told him, hey, bro, go to my house and get all my guns. I said, I feel like I'm being fucked with right now. Like, because I was just arrested for no reason with a gun on my hip, right? And now I'm facing, who knows what kind of charges I'm facing now, right? Because it's my word against theirs. Yeah. Always, it's my word against theirs. And I was like, I'm fucked, right? I just didn't trust myself with my guns at home because I was like, dude, why is this happening to me? Like, this shit does not happen. Like, you arrested me with a gun. What the fuck? You know what I mean?
Life is like this.
Yes, dude. I was like, what the fuck? So that was one of the times in my life where I was like, dude, this is insane. I don't even want to live no more. I felt like I didn't want to be alive. I didn't want to kill myself. Yeah. I just felt like I don't want to deal with this shit anymore. I'm trying to fly straight. I'm getting my life together. I'm doing everything I need to do and some, and I'm getting fucked with. As soon as I start taking my head above the water, they knock you back down. And I was like, fuck, man, I'm never going to win. But that was my whole childhood growing up. You know, I grew up in Oakland. I was always getting arrested. I was always in drugs and fights and gangs and sex and all that shit. I survived a lot of bullshit. You know, living in Oakland was it was always a fucking adventure. That's for sure. There was always some shit going on. But that helped me realize once I got out, when I was in jail, I read up on the laws. I read up on the crime. Because I'm a gun owner.
Yeah.
All my guns are legal. I love my guns. I love being able to have that Second Amendment.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's people that I know that they fuck up their life. One day they make one mistake and now your rights are gone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For me to be 42 years old and still have that right is kind of an accomplishment. You know what I mean? Because I could have made a lot of wrong turns growing up in Oakland where I wouldn't have that right. But I do. So I didn't get any felonies. I fought my own cases. When the police arrested me for that gun, they tried to charge me with a felony and they tried to throw the book at me. And I knew my rights because I had to, nobody cares about your rights like you, right? You should. If you don't know your rights, you better fucking learn them or else they're going to violate them.
Yeah.
They try to violate mine. And I was like, no.
Yeah.
So I fought my own charges, fought my own case, got the charges dropped. I lost the gun. They kept the gun.
Mm.
Fine, I'll go buy another one.
Mm.
I don't have a felony.
Yeah.
You know? So for me, it was worth learning about the laws and the rights of the gun owner because most people don't even realize that there are responsibilities that come along with your rights. Right? Yeah. So, but that was one example of where I was just like, wow, wow, really? This is happening to me right now? But then again, you have those times in life often, right? Right?
Well, I think it depends on who you are. I mean, I think that what you said earlier about, doesn't matter who, whether you're rich or you're poor or white or black, we have those moments. And I think that's true to a large extent. But because I have some friends who are, they're wealthy, they're white, and they still have these kind of crazy experiences. Not usually with the cops. That's kind of more minorities.
Yeah.
But with other stuff, your car breaks down on the freeway. You get
your girl leaves you.
And,
lose your job.
Yeah, or just even crazy stuff where I heard stories about just random people getting attacked, and it's those are one in 500 things, but you live enough life, and it happens to you sometimes, and I think that so I have I've heard the stories, and I've met a lot of people in my life, and I've know that happens to people, but then but I think some people are maybe a little bit more sheltered, and they haven't grown up,
experienced life.
Yeah, they haven't experienced. The way I put it is this: is if you grew up in poverty, you grew up in a gang neighborhood, you're gonna have those hardships in very concrete ways, not being able to your parents aren't going to afford something, or your parents are alcoholics, and you're having the violence problems. But then I think that the people who maybe grew up rich and sheltered
didn't have to do that shit.
They didn't have to go through that kind of stuff. But I think what happens is that their mind is kind of weak in a sense, and so when they become adults, they have the psychological problems.
Right.
And not that we don't too, but they have the psychological problems, and then they get into drug addiction or sex addiction, something like that, and that stuff ends up screwing up your life in other ways.
I think it impacts you just as bad. I think it can impact you just as bad. It could literally throw you off the rails,
Yeah. I agree, and I guess that's a good clarification, is that it's the perception of the hardship that really breaks us. 100%. It's not even that the situation itself is that bad.
It's the way you look.
It's the way that you're looking at it, and I think that I guess that's the connection, is that when you grow up without those hardships, then even the stuff that is really small in the grand scheme of things seems like it's the end of the world.
Right.
Oh, my girlfriend's leaving me.
Right.
I lost my job. or maybe you go through death in the family. That obviously that's hard for everyone. But
Yeah.
but if you grow up in the gang neighborhood where you grew up around death,
It's normal.
then it's normal.
Yeah.
And
you're built with the coping mechanisms to handle that.
Actually, that's it reminds me of what Killmonger says in his dream. You watched Black Panther?
No.
Anyway, he says he grew up in Oakland in kind of gang-ridden neighborhood, and his dad got murdered, but he has this dream where he meets his father after he's an adult, and his father, like, he says, no tears for me, and the young boy, he sees himself as a young boy in his dream, and he says, like, that's just how it is. Everybody dies around here. Like,
yeah.
And it's that becomes your reality.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that was I guess about life life really putting you in a desperate spot, but seemed like you had resilience and you decided to fight. A lot of people, they just kind of let whatever the cops want to do them, and people don't know.
I was scared.
Yeah.
I was scared. I literally thought it was a bad dream. Like, I thought I'm in the backseat of this cop car with a gun on me. If I was someone else, anyone else, the outcome would have been different. I mean, if they had picked up the wrong guy, like, lucky for those two cops, I was me.
Yeah.
Because if I was someone else.
You mean someone who had malintent, or what do you mean?
Right.
Well, that's why they were so mad at themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
If I was a fucked up psychopath in the backseat of a car with a gun of two cops, they probably wouldn't be there anymore,
Yeah. Oh, that was probably a wake-up call for them.
Jesus
These young cops, inexperienced.
Before I even got to the jail, all the other deputies at the jail had already known who I was. Okay. Before I had even got into the jail. Because I guess it went over the radio. And
they were like, check this guy. Like, who is this guy, right?
Yeah. Fucking idiots. I still think about those guys sometimes. I hope they're okay. I hope they hug their families.
Yeah.
With more intent, since that experience.
Wow.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Man. Well, can I ask you about what it was like growing up in Oakland? How did I don't know, you mentioned gangs and
yeah, it was I was born in the Fruitvale area. My grandmother lived out there right across the street from elementary school. So I was my mom and my dad, we lived in the Dubs. We went to school at Fruitvale, and after school my grandmother would take care of me and my two brothers, and it was pretty loving upbringing. I remember being one of the I was in spelling bees. I was in all types of little academic challenges that they had at the school. I grew up as a smart kid. I loved words, vocabulary. I was always interested in that. Geography as a kid. I was the oldest brother. I had one who was a year younger than me, and then another one who was 7 years younger than me. So I kind of try to teach them the basics, how to get educated, how to be smart, I was a nerd, pretty much a nerd, going up through elementary school. And then somewhere in middle school, 6th, 7th grade, I just started wilding out. I don't know what it was. Hanging out with drug dealers and gangbangers. This was, what's this, 13, 14 years old, in middle school, junior high school, just being exposed to a whole different type of melting pot of all types. I mean, girls were promiscuous back at 13, 14 years old, 15 years old. They were out there, having sex and smoking weed and drinking. By the time I was, in 7th grade, 8th grade, I had people
Pregnant.
They were coming to me. They were looking at me like I guess I had some kind of pull because of my cousins. My cousins were gangbangers, and somehow got kind of known in middle school. And I mean, I was selling drugs. People were giving me drugs to sell, and I could keep the money. You know, people were looking out for me. I don't know how it ended up that way. So easily, pretty fast, I got a crew of people that were following me. You know, I had other people that just people that would hang out with, they would want to hang out with me because they knew I had drugs, or I had the girls, or I had some place to kick it. And just being a bad influence. I don't really know how that shit happened. When I think about it, like I was a really good kid all up through 5th and 6th grade. I was pretty nerdy. And then 7th grade, I was just, you know.
Well, is there a like, I don't know, they talk about gateways. Was there a particular person who you were friends with, and then that was like kind of the...
I think there was during middle school, my first year of middle school, we lived in 54th in Oakland, and then there was gangbangers all through that neighborhood. So I kind of like idolized them. I seen my cousins were always gangbangers too, so I kind of knew about that. Back in those days, in the 80s, 90s, early 90s, there was movies that would glorify, you know, Hispanic gangs and shit like that, Blood In, Blood Out, and just movies that would glorify that LA type gangbanger mentality. So it was kind of like that kind of influenced it. And then the rap music also influenced it. So it was just, you know, for me, it was normal when you're a young kid, Hispanic in Oakland, you're going to be smoking weed, you're going to have guns on you, you're going to be having sex with all the girls and doing all the dumb shit. It was just that. It was normal. And that, and, you know, my mom wasn't she was always busy, same with my dad. And then, you know, parents, they look at their kids as if they're these innocent, beautiful creatures, which they are. Yeah. But they're out there doing some shit.
And your parents had no idea?
They had no idea. You know, parents would tell you all the time. You can hear parents, oh, my kids would never do that. Oh, my kids would never do that. Your kids are doing that shit. I'm going to look straight into the camera. Your kids are doing that shit. You better check up on them kids because they're out there doing that shit. I was out there doing that shit. I'm not saying all of them are.
Yeah.
But
there's a wisdom. That
don't fool yourself.
That you're saying yes is that you just, the parents don't want to believe that the kids are capable. And that's like I see these you know, when these kids actually, you know, do the really bad stuff, and you know, then it hits the news, the parents' first response is denial.
Yeah.
They just can't fathom it.
I get it. Yeah. You know, and it's got to be hard because you created this child. Yeah. All these years, you watched it grow up. You know, you watched it learn how to speak its first words. You learn how to watch it. You watched it walk. Yeah. And then you watched it eat cereal. And now you're like, no, my kid would never do no shit like that. I taught him better. You know, I taught her better. But they're going to learn what they're exposed to. Yeah. You know, they're out in the street. Yeah. They're out at school. They're out in the movies hanging out with their friends. They're going to emulate some of that shit.
Yeah.
They're going to imitate that shit.
And I think that you know, we all want to be accepted. And so I think that's why, you know, you have people who are in the higher, you know, grew up in the richer neighborhoods, and they look down on the people who are in these poor neighborhoods. Yep. And they go, hey, you know what, these are like gangbangers, they're druggies and whatever, and but we're all the same. We're just we just want friends. We want people to like us. We want the girls. We want the boys.
We're tribal. Yeah, we're tribal. I mean, growing up, you want to fit in. You want to be a part of something. And picking your friends is how you decide or how you find out where it is you belong. And if you're in a neighborhood where all you have are not the right people, you're gonna find your place in that not right people. And there's a saying, You hang around 6 idiots and you're the 7th. You know, you hang around 7 geniuses and you're the 8th. You know, so it's, and again, it's, I think we all have our deficiencies, you know, whether it's how much money you make in your, or what your, if you have 2 parents or, but we all have also, we're all equipped to succeed. We all have, I mean, there's blind, Stevie Wonder was blind, he played the piano. You know, everyone knows who Stevie Wonder is, but he didn't have any excuses. You know, he was equipped to play the piano. You know, so I think we all have these, we all have our advantages and our disadvantages, but we all are equipped. You know.
Do you think that there was something that your parents could have done that would have prevented you from going down this path?
I don't think so. Maybe spend more time with us. My dad could have probably spent more time with us, getting us into some type of sports activities, or, you know, something that would have kept us, again, because I learned about this tribal mentality a long time ago. And I learned that that's just part of who we are as we grow up. You know, when you're 5, 6 years old, you're part of something bigger. And what that bigger thing is your family. The family unit is the part of something that you are.
Your identity.
Right, right. And then as you get older, you start realizing that you don't fit in like you used to in that family. That little spot that you filled in that family, you've grown out of it. So now you have to go find something else to be a part of. And whatever's outside your front door is what you're going to be a part of. Whatever is at your job, you pick up habits from your coworkers, or on your sports team, your football team, your baseball team, whatever you do. You pick up little traits and qualities from all those people too. So that's how you build your identity. And it is a community. You have to have some type of community that makes you feel like you belong there. And that's why for me, in jiu-jitsu, when I come into jiu-jitsu, I'm giving everybody hugs. Everybody comes through that fucking door, they're getting a hug from me. I don't give a fuck. Right? They all know that. They all know that. Everybody knows that. Because that's my community. You know what I mean? My coworkers that I see every day too, those are I have some relationships with some of them, but my community is in the gym, on the mats with those people, because again, I don't agree with all of their beliefs and all of their ideas, but the things that I do agree with with them, those are more valuable than any other disagreement that I can have with them. You know, and that's how you fit in. You find where you fit in. Where you found where people are gonna love you regardless. You know.
Yeah, I mean that's why we're even having this conversation. Is you know, we don't look the same, we don't come from the same background, but I felt that you really cared.
100%.
I was going through a hard time, and I think what made you stand out was that I think there are people who you know, you see they're not doing well, and you might say, hey, are you doing okay or whatnot, but like I think with you were persistent in that you're like, hey, you know, like you asked me how I was doing multiple times.
Well, I didn't want to like dig at you, but I wanted you to know that, hey, there's somebody, not everybody's going to understand what you're going through, but some people are just there to listen. You know what I mean?
And that's what you said. You said, you know, if you ever want to talk, I'm here. And I think that a lot of times, you know, that's kind of all we need, in the sense that I think when we're going through, you know, a dark place or funk or whatever you're going through, but mental illness or whatnot, you start to be very negative. You start to believe that, oh, nobody cares. Everybody's shallow. Everybody's selfish. And I think that which is why isolation is so bad, because then you just keep repeating that.
Snowballs.
Yeah. But then luckily I had already, you know, enrolled, and I was at the gym, and I think you broke that I guess you kind of challenge that false belief of mine.
Right.
That
nobody gives a shit.
That nobody gives a shit. And I think that and I don't know, I guess to me I feel like nowadays it's more rare. It's more rare to find people who it's not to shame anyone, but it's more like has the capacity and the maturity to kind of be giving and to be to feel like they're compassion where I don't know if it's just that. I think compassion is a big part of it, but I feel like even compassionate people, they feel like they don't have more to give.
Right.
But what I see is that you got to a place where you felt like, you know what, like I'm just gonna help other people out. You know, I'm gonna be that guy who's hugging everyone in the community and checking in and stuff. And I'm wondering, how did you get there?
Well, there was this incident that happened in my life, 2013. I was stabbed right here in my radial artery.
Oh man.
Yeah, I bled out. I was like 30 seconds from death. You know, I survived that, and I started jiu-jitsu 6 years later. Right? But during those 6 years of realizing that, because I was working at a tattoo shop, had my own shop, I had my own artists working with me, I was doing what I wanted to do.
Wow.
I was living my dream. It was the beginning of my tattoo career and the end at the same time. So after I got stabbed, like my artists, the shop started falling down. Like I had young artists who didn't know how to run a business.
Yeah.
I was learning how to run the business still, so I couldn't depend on these guys to try to pick up.
Yeah.
You know, I was like the chief, and now there's no chief now, so it's gone to shit. So I lost use of my hand. Half of my hand is numb because of nerve damage, so I couldn't hold a tattoo machine anymore. Right? It was impossible to do it. You know, I mean, as much as I would try, it was so depressing. As much as I would try to draw and hold a pencil, I couldn't do it. You know, it took a long time to where now I can manipulate my hand and my fingers to figure out a way to paint and draw. So I still do it, but just differently now. So since then, like learning that life still goes on. Life still goes on. And then when I started training jiu-jitsu, I was like, I didn't really tell anybody about my disability. I still don't tell anybody. Like, I'm just as good as you are, right? I might whoop your ass with 9 fingers, motherfucker. But I tape them together so that way they're not, because this finger doesn't articulate, right? Like this one does. Right? So I tape it together so that way I can piggyback it off this one, because I don't want to poke nobody in their eye. If I break it, I won't even feel it, because it's just, there's no sensation in there. The nerves are gone. So being able to train jiu-jitsu and showed me that I am capable of doing shit. And as much love as I get from my teammates, all right, I'm not saying everybody likes me in there, but they all love me. You know, it just makes me give back that love. You know, I take the love that they're giving me and I multiply it and I give them back. I want them, every person that walks in that gym, I want them to know, even though you didn't feel like coming to train today, I'm glad you fucking came, right? So-and-so is glad you came today. Because there's some days where you don't feel like training. Oh, my back hurts, oh, my stomach hurts, or, you know, I'm hungry or I'm tired. And I just fucking go anyway, you know? And every time I go, I'm always like, damn, I'm glad I came. Because I know that those 3 or 4 people that I just rolled with, they're fucking glad I came, right? Because I just gave them the work. You know, I made them work. I tried some new shit on your ass. I almost got you, right? Or you tried some new shit on me and you almost got me, you know? So for me, it's not always about my training. For me, it's like, it's important to be there because somebody wants you to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody there is looking at the clock like, damn, where's Angel at? You know,
Mm-hmm.
or where's Daniel at? You know what I mean? It's like, fuck, they're waiting for you, you know? So for me, it's like I said, I'm a small part of that community, but I'm a part of that community, you know, so. And everybody, I imagine what that place would be like without me. You know, I think about my job too. My job is the same way. I mean, my coworkers love me too. And I think about what their lives would be like if I wasn't there. I don't know why coming so close to that, and it might sound like egotistical, but I don't want it to come across as that way. It's just realizing that life is precious. There was a time where I could not have been here. You know what I mean? Who would you be having this conversation with if I wasn't here? You know what I mean?
Well, what do you mean? Like if you died, or what do you?
If I had died in 2013,
Yeah.
10 years ago, if I had died, because I was this close to dying, I didn't feel any pain. I just felt tired. I felt release. And then I heard the sirens in the background. And I heard the ambulance pulling up. And I didn't see anything. Everything was just slowly fading away. And I was like, that's the end. But when that wasn't the end, you know, it was just a different chapter in my story. It was just a different part of a new adventure. So now that's why I look at life now every day. It's like, it's a fucking adventure. You know, everything that happens to me is for a reason. Because I have some stories where you just, like I told you one earlier, where you're like, I can't believe that shit fucking happened.
Which one?
Where the cops arrested me with a gun on me, like some shit. The girl that pulled my leg when I was... What kind of parallel universe is that shit happening? You know what I mean? There's some shit that happened to me where I'm just like, wow, really, dude? You can make this shit up. Like, what the fuck? So I look at that and I just laugh. I'm like, dude, well, it's happening to me for a reason, whatever the fucking reason is. But I always am going to stay positive, you know. I mean, I was homeless for a while. I was homeless for like 4 years.
Wow.
I was bouncing from place to place, living in a van, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Living in my car. And I was like, I'm going to pull myself out of this. I'm handicapped, but I'm still going to pull myself out of this shit. So I did, you know? And I'm not living in a huge mansion or anything right now, but I'm able to keep myself, to maintain a nice living, you know, and have a little bit of fun too, you know, and help people out.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, fuck, you know.
I mean, I think that's the most important thing is that you're paying it forward as best as you can. And, you know, there's people who are very rich or successful or whatever, but they don't pay it forward.
No.
And I mean, I get that. I get why we can get like that sometimes, but I think that you're you know, the way that you're looking at life and is the right way to look at it.
Well, it's easy to get caught up, especially now with social media. It's easy to get caught up with just like, you know what, I'm going to hashtag what this latest trend, whatever's in the news or media right now. Like, I support this country or I support that country. But it's like, do you really?
No.
Do you really? You know what I mean? No. So I make it a point in my life where now I'm so happy to be alive that I want to make your day a little bit better. A little bit better. Like I tell people, one of the things that makes me hug people all the time, like I hug my coworkers too, like all the time. Because you don't know what person, that's all they needed was a fucking hug. Just to know that somebody's there, somebody fucking cares. You know what I mean? Like, no matter what you're going through, somebody has it harder, right? I'm here to give you a fucking hug and let you know, march on, motherfucker. You know what I mean? Stay hard, David Goggins. Stay hard, motherfucker. You know how that shit is? Because, I mean, life is hard. And we all need to be reminded that we can overcome. We can overcome. But people forget that shit. Oh, fucking, my girlfriend left me, or, you know. So what, dude? So what? Go find another one, right? Or stay single, right? I've been single for a year now, over a year now. Just find relationships right now are just so hard to maintain. Yeah. I mean, it's easy for, like, if you meet a girl and you like her, she's cute, she makes you laugh, and then for some reason she likes the Giants and you like the A's. Yeah, I'm gonna go find a Giants fan there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go find an A's fan. Like
Yeah.
You were cute, I liked you, but you're
Yeah.
not an A's fan.
Yeah.
It's easy
Yeah.
for people to just switch.
Yeah.
That fast.
Well, there's a bit of a paradox there in what you said, in the sense that, you said, oh, hey, your girlfriend left you. So what? Find another one.
Mm-hmm.
But isn't that the same mentality, right? It's like, oh yeah, this guy, he's an A's fan. So what? Go find another one, right? Like, so we get sucked into that mentality, and I know that, and I think there's trade-offs. I think there's like, getting stuck on one person for too long is also unhealthy, not good for anyone.
Yeah.
And I remember after I shared with you that I was like stuck thinking about this one person for years.
Mm-hmm.
You shared with me, oh man, you know what that's like.
Mm-hmm.
For you said you did that for 10 years one time.
Mm-hmm.
What was so special?
It still kind of happens.
With the same person or new people?
Same girl.
Same girl.
It's this girl. I was in a relationship with her from 2009 to 2012. We were still seeing each other like semi-exclusively.
Mm.
Like I kind of felt like she was still seeing other people while I was still like focused and dedicated to her. Right, even though we weren't together, we lived together from 2010 to 2012. Mm. We lived together. We took up art classes together. We danced together. We did everything, bro. This girl was like the one, right? I thought we were gonna be together. This is the one I'm gonna settle with. I'm gonna have a family with her. We're gonna fucking do this shit together. And it didn't work out after the second year of living together. There was a 10-year age difference. She was 20 and I was 30, right? So, and I was fully aware that our maturity levels weren't seeing eye to eye.
Yeah.
So I was extra patient with her. I was extra understanding because I knew that there's some shit. She's going to have bad days. Yeah. Unexplainable. Like women go through days where they can't tell you why they're in a bad mood because they don't know. They don't fucking know. They just, so you have to roll with those punches. Yeah. So I came in there fully understanding that, hey, there's going to be some rough water until she gets her mental maturity fully develops and then she defines herself. So I was holding on to her for all that, for 2018 was the last time we saw each other. Like from 2012 to 2018, we were still off and on. She would come call me in the middle of the night to come pick her up because she didn't want to sleep alone. Yeah. Or, she wanted to be with me. Or the other guy didn't pick up his phone. So I'm the next on the list, right? I don't fucking know, right? So it was, and then I just completely lost like emotional connection with her. I remember we were having sex and I just completely I just felt like kind of nasty. I just felt kind of like disgusted with myself. Like I'm doing this to this girl and I don't even feel a connection with her anymore. Right. So I was just like, I stopped. I was like, we can't do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. Right. She was upset. Girls don't like it when you stop fucking them and you say, I don't want to do this anymore. They really take it pretty hard. Yeah. She kind of freaked out and I didn't. She said, I'll talk to you later. I'll call you later. And we never spoke again after that. I seen her quite often because she lives pretty close to my house. And I see her in the traffic from time to time. She's actually come to my store once before.
To find you, a coincidence?
She was there with her brothers and her cousins shopping for family Christmas gifts. I think it was last year. And the look of shock on her face. Like every time I've seen her at Walmart before, the look of shock on her face and she just runs out. She just leaves. So I know she feels something about me. She still feels something towards me, something. But every girl after that, I would see a little bit of her in them, right? For some reason. I don't know if it was intentional. I don't know if it was something inside me that was like, hey, call her, go to her house. Or, I'm not a psycho. I'm not going to go to your fucking house. Yeah. You know where I live, right? Yeah. If you want to talk to me, I'm a mature person. I'm open-minded. shit didn't work out between us, fine, whatever. You can still talk to me, right? If I've loved you ever in my life, ever, I'm always gonna love you, right?
Yeah.
Even people that I don't get along with anymore, yeah, I still love you. No hard feelings for me, you know. But I would see this girl. I still see her in my dreams.
Mm.
One of the reasons I smoke weed is because I won't dream. Like,
Wow.
when I smoke weed, it helps me to just sleep and not dream. So when I don't smoke weed and I dream, always about her.
Wow.
Always about her, without fail. Without fail. So sometimes I'll go a day without smoking weed just to see her again. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's fucking insane. It's fucking insane. So I just, maybe I'll never see her again in life, but I'll see her in my dreams.
Yeah.
You know, and they're never like bad dreams. They're just like walking through the park,
Yeah.
And I can't see her face, but I know it's her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sometimes I see her face.
Yeah.
But with the times I don't see her face, I know it's fucking her, right? So it's pretty crazy that I'm still dealing with that.
Mm.
So I just smoke weed. I just fucking smoke weed.
So
yeah.
Do you feel? I mean, obviously it's been a long time, but do you feel like this longing inside that, like, man, I just wish that, like, you just wish that you guys could talk and work it out and have a happy ending?
I would like to know. Sometimes I still fight the urge to call her and just let her know that I hope she's okay, and let her know that I'm okay.
Mm.
I'm teaching kids now. I'm taking care of myself. I'm healthier than I've ever been.
Mm-hmm.
I have my job. My job loves me. So just so that way she can know that I didn't go off the deep end, that you didn't destroy me.
Mm-hmm.
I love you. I care about you. And I hope that you're doing good with your life. You know what I mean? I had a relationship last year. It ended in August or July. So it was a year. It started in April, May, June, July. Yeah, April, May, June, July. Started in April, ended in July. So I was dating this girl for a while. She was just like this girl, just like the girl that I was with.
Yeah.
The way she dressed,
the
way she talked, the way she carried herself. Yeah. And I was like, I just met this girl, right? And she had asked me to be her boyfriend.
Yeah.
So it's the same story as the girl before. Right?
Wow.
It was the same story. And I was just like, fuck, this is weird. This is weird. Her birthday was 3 days after the other girl's birthday. I was like, this is fucking weird, dude. The universe is playing with me.
Yeah, sometimes it feels like that this is a simulation.
Right.
Like, it's not a coincidence. Yeah.
So I was like, fuck it. I'll roll with the punches. I'll go along with this.
Yeah.
She wasn't her.
Yeah.
But she was there were a lot of similarities between it. And I was like, do I just attract this type of person?
Mm-hmm.
Or what is going on? I'm just like, I'm trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Maybe this girl is something that I can work out.
Well, what were some of those qualities that
they were both they were Tauruses.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, their birthdays were really close, right? The way they dressed, their favorite colors, right? The stuff they like to eat, the music they listened to, the way they danced, right? The way they slept. It was real similar. This other girl was, now she was 26 when we started dating.
Yeah.
So there were a lot of similarities. They like to play chess, right? Not a lot of people play chess, right?
Especially girls. Like, there's not that many that play chess.
Right. So they were into conspiracies and shit like that. I was like, all right.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, weirdos. So I was like, maybe I just attract this type of person to me, right?
There's some truth to that. Like, we all emit an energy.
Right.
So.
Right.
Yeah.
But and that relationship, she came and trained maybe twice at the gym, because I was like, if you want me, I'm interested in your world. I'm interested in the things that interest you, right? So I want to be interested You know, I want to do some of the stuff you like to do with you. If you want to share that part of your life with me, right? I'm open-minded to that. So it's only natural that you would come into my world a little bit, right? So come and train jiu-jitsu, see if you like it. If not, at least you know what I do, right? And then we started building the new gym. So I was working my full-time job and I was building the new gym after that. So I had no time for a relationship. Meanwhile, this girl's waiting for me at home or whatever she's doing, right?
Yeah.
But we were used to seeing each other every day, every other day.
Yeah.
Even if we weren't spending the night together, we were at least have lunch or have a dinner, and then I'm going home. But I guess that might have taken a toll on the relationship because I was working and then work after work, you know? Yeah. Excuse me. So she just up and left one day. I came home from work. My house keys were on the porch. My clothes and all my stuff was in a bag hanging on the doorknob. And then I looked on Instagram. She had blocked me from Instagram and deleted me. I was like, all right. But I remember telling her in the beginning, she asked me to be her boyfriend.
Yeah.
And I said, we've only known each other for a few days.
Yeah.
We should I just want you to know that if it's not working out, if you change your mind, right? Just tell me.
Yeah.
Don't try to play games with me. Don't try to fuck with my head, right? Because I'm not going to entertain that shit.
Yeah.
If it's not working, just tell me. Just tell me. If you change your mind. One day you like strawberry, 2 weeks later you like chocolate, you have every right to change your fucking mind. But as a participant in this relationship, you should please let me know.
Yeah.
She didn't do that. I was like, all right, it's probably better that way then.
Yeah.
At
least then you know where her maturity level is at. It's easier to move on.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's hard to understand that, like, people just don't have that type of. They're so careless with other people's feelings.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's not something to play with. And that's why I've chosen to stay single, because if I love somebody, I'm going to show them love. Love is not buying you gifts. It's not fucking, buying you all kind of shit. Love is action. Love is showing someone that you love them, Yeah, you can bring flowers and all that as extra, but there's a force. Love is a force, and it has to be shown and acknowledged before it can be fully realized. I mean,
So I think you said that she asked you to be your boyfriend after 3 days after meeting you or something. Do you think maybe it was a mistake to agree so fast?
Yeah. I thought about it fuck, what did I just do? What did I just do? But at the same time, I was like, you know what? I'm 40. I was 41. And I was like, you know what? If this girl feels this strongly about me, why not? I was like, why not?
Yeah.
I wanted to be just friends first, but I felt like we 3 or 4 days, we played first date, the first time we hung out, we went to the park and played chess. We smoked some weed and fucking played chess at the park. I mean, that's ideal.
Yeah.
Most girls want you to take them to a fancy fucking dinner, a fancy restaurant, buy drinks, and then all that shit. No. We just went to the park, had some snacks, fucking played chess, dude. And I was like, wow, this is cool, right?
Yeah.
I can do this shit, right? So
who won the game?
I beat her the first 2 games, right? And then she beat me the 3rd game. She was like, did you let me win? I was like, no. I said, did I let you win the first 2 games? No, I'm not going to fucking let you win. The fuck? This shit is real in the field. Check, motherfucker. Hell yeah. So it was pretty nice. It was refreshing to be in a relationship. She just hit me up not too long ago, a couple of days ago, she was admitting that she was wrong, which women don't really do. She was like, I was mistaken.
Oh.
I didn't I didn't reach the level of maturity that you wanted me to be at. I thought I was ready to be in a relationship. I'm sorry it didn't work out. I'm happy and
Wow.
that I got to experience a relationship with you. And I was like, well, that's thoughtful. That's probably really hard
Yeah.
for her to do. And I was like, dude, that, like, you want to hang out? You want to play some chess sometime? That's cool. I'm not trying to fuck nobody. I'm not trying to have sex no more. It's just, if I don't have that emotional connection with somebody, it's just not worth it for me, So, yeah, she was, I'm not, I don't have anything bad to say about her. She just ghosted me. Maybe she has her reasons for that. For a while, I was curious, and then I was just like, you know what? It's not even important.
Yeah.
My life isn't gonna change at all, knowing her reason for leaving.
Yeah.
She just left. It's part of life. Yeah. So the person that stabbed me was my brother. He was pretty fucked up. He was pretty fucked up on alcohol. Really down a dark path. He was fighting with his wife. And then whenever I see a male aggressive with a female, like something inside me just kind of like snaps, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So by not minding my own business, I went and started beating the shit out of my brother. So I started beating his ass, and he had a knife in his hand. When I punched him, fucking just, yeah. I just felt a little tingle, and right here in my hand just went bling, like numb. And then I went to the bathroom. I got a fucking wet towel and just tied it around, trying to stop the half-fast stop the bleeding and shit, bro. It's fucking ridiculous. And
okay, but did you know that you need to call 911?
My brother's wife called 911. She was screaming. There was blood everywhere. And then
so why do you have a knife in his hand?
Because he was drunk.
He was starting.
He was getting his ass kicked. Well, this is what happened, because I had drums, guitars, bass, amplifiers, all that shit at my house. I lived about 5 minutes away from where we were at. We were at his house.
Okay.
And so it was his birthday party. So we'd all been hanging out and drinking at the park, Lake Chabot, during the daytime.
Okay.
Later at night, we had like 7 kids there. His kids, his nieces, and my nieces and nephews. And we're all just hanging out. And I'm like, all right, we're going to go to my house and fucking make some music, right?
Okay.
So the kids are like, yeah, the kids are all getting ready and shit. My brother goes to his wife, and I asked his wife, I said, because she was the sober one. I said, can you drive us to my house? She was like, yeah. I'll pick you up in like 2 hours. I was like, yeah, fuck yeah. So my brother grabs the car keys, and he thinks he's going to drive. Mm-hmm. He's fucking wasted, right? His wife is like, you're not going to drive. She's like, I'm going to fucking drive. I'm okay to drive. I'm okay. She's like, I'm like, bro, just give her the keys. She's going to drive all of us. Like, you're coming too, bro. Like, don't trip. You're coming. He wanted to drive. So then he's like getting in her face and he's shaking her, grabs her, starts shaking her. So then I just start beating his ass. Right? So I beat his ass. I throw him in the back room, right? I'm like, come on, kids, get ready. The kids are getting ready and shit. So I knocked him out. He's knocked out in the back room. And then so the kids are getting ready, and I hear more tussling back there. And I'm like, what the fuck's going on? So I went back there, and now he's wrestling with his wife's brother. So his brother-in-law. Okay. He's wrestling with the brother-in-law. And I'm like, motherfucker, you don't listen? You don't learn? Yeah. So I went to sock him again. And when I went to sock him, he had a knife in his hand. Oh, no. And then that's when he just...
You didn't see the knife?
I didn't see the knife.
Oh, God.
And I was like, oh. So I locked him out again. And then I see the fucking blood just fucking squirting everywhere. And his wife is screaming, oh, my God, Angel, what the fuck? And I went to the closet, and I'm like, the kids are screaming and shit. I grabbed a wet towel, and I was like, oh, it's all good. Don't worry. I'm tightening it up. Oh, no. I'm like, come on, kids, get ready. We're going to go play the drums. Little did I know, I was slowly dying. I had no idea I was about to die. And I was like, fuck. So then I heard, I got to the front porch, and I just collapsed. And I remember I collapsed like this. And I could just see the blood was squirting, and then it was like more. The intervals started getting longer and longer. Oh man! And squirt, and then everything just went dark. I heard the sirens. I heard my brother screaming in the house. I heard police running in And the next thing, I'm just waiting to hear gunshots. Right? I'm waiting to hear the cops are gonna fucking kill my brother right now because he's got a knife in his hand and he's not going down without a fight because he's hard headed.
Yeah.
And I'm just waiting to hear the cops fucking shoot him. And then I remember them putting me into the back of the ambulance, and my eyes opened up. And I fucking reached in my pocket. I grabbed a cigarette.
No.
And I'm fucking
way.
I'm in the back of the ambulance, and the ambulance dude was like, "Hey man, you can't smoke in here." I was like, "Just one more before I go." I tried to smoke a cigarette and shit. Like,
you literally said that.
Yeah, I said just one. I was like, I'm done. I was like, it's
oh
over.
My God.
Yeah, because it was a puddle. The puddle. All I seen was a red puddle of blood, and I seen the fucking shit was. Yeah.
Wow.
So then the cops arrested him, and I went to the hospital. They did surgery on my arm. I woke up in the hospital, and his wife was there, just like bloodshot eyes, makeup running. She's destroyed. She's just done, right? And because she knew my brother had this alcohol problem for a while.
Yeah.
And she's been trying to get him to quit. And he's denying, I don't have a fucking problem. So he called me I woke up, his wife was like, I just filed for divorce. I'm taking the kids.
Wow.
Is there anything you need, Angel? Let me know. She's like, I'm here. I can't do it with your brother anymore. I just can't do it. I was like, I don't blame you. So then he called me from jail. He's fucking bawling his eyes out. I'm sorry. I said, look, you have two options. I said, one is you're going to get clean and sober at home with your family, or you're going to get clean and sober in prison. Choice is yours.
Yeah.
Like, because if I press charges, you're going to jail.
Yeah.
If I don't press charges, I'm letting you off the hook, right? So I let him off the hook. I didn't charge him with any charges. He went back to he was 5 years clean and sober. Boom, after that, 5 years clean and sober. They moved out to Las Vegas. His wife still divorced him eventually, right? He moved out to Las Vegas. Both of my brothers live in Las Vegas. Yeah. And he's back on getting fucked up again. Yeah. He's back drinking. Now he's a gambler too.
Oh,
he's a degenerate gambler.
Oh my God.
So I'm just like, you know what? All I can do is love you. Yeah.
Sad,
he's not gonna realize that he can change his life. Yeah. I was his rock bottom. After almost killing your brother, like any normal person would have been like, you know what? I gotta get my shit together.
Yeah.
Never touching a drop of alcohol again.
Yeah.
And he did fine.
Yeah, 5 years that's something.
But he fell back off again, and not only that, he's still the same drunk. You know, there's these drunk people that they like to get violent and aggressive. Yeah, you know, drunk, I'm a happy drunk. If we were sitting here having shots of tequila, bro, we'd be talking for 7-8 hours. No bullshit, bro. We'd be sitting here just laughing. I tell you all the stories, right? But there's some people that just, fucking listen to me. Fuck you. There's aggressive drunks, and he's one of those, you know. And he don't even know how to fight. It's like, how can you be that guy, bro? You know, he's always starting to fight and then getting his ass
that's
kicked.
the thing, is that the people who don't know how to fight feel like always that. Want to fight. They feel like that, yeah.
So he got his shit. Whatever he's doing now, that's on him. Like, all I can do is love him from here, you know. If he's going to call me from jail, I'm going to tell him, hey, bro, congratulations, you did it again, you know. Yeah. So like, there's some people that just don't know how to stop, you know. And I don't condone. I mean, everybody's going to get high off something. Yeah. There's coffee. Some people get high off sex. Some people get high off jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu gets me fucking high. You know what I mean? That's adrenaline pure running through your body, you know? But being able to manage, you know, shopping gets you high. You know, people are addicted to a lot of shit.
Yeah, it can be pretty much anything. I think I realized that I kind of have an addictive personality, and there's certain things in life that give you more of like a dopamine hit.
Yeah.
And I think what I learned recently is that there are a lot of these things in life that they make you feel better for like a little bit.
Little quick hits.
But as you're getting those hits, your baseline level of happiness and your quality of life is going down. Because those things are like kind of bad for you.
Yep.
And so what you really have to do is be able to tolerate doing something that's kind of hard that actually makes you feel worse for a while.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, doing your damn work or your chores or studying or, I don't know, going to meet people or something. And your life like feels worse for a little bit, but on average, it's actually getting better and better. And then once you do that for a while and you start to see that, hey, your life is getting better, you're feeling healthier, you start getting a little bit of a dopamine hit.
Knowing what you went through.
Yeah, well, doing the harder things. Like training or making some money or, I don't know, being mature and taking some responsibility. Yeah. Like, I guess, helping out some people or painting the dojo or the gym. And, in the past, you would have been like, no, this is not as good as, having sex with some girl or getting high or something. Right. But now, like, painting is actually kind of fun and it's like triggering those same pathways, and you find better substitutes that make you feel good and improve your life and improve the life of the community. Yep. And that's where I think we all need to go. But some people are stuck in kind of like this spiky downward spiral, and I was doing that for a while, for a long time.
I think the pandemic too made things a lot harder for people in some ways. I mean, easy in other ways, but as far as people having to go into work, to actual work, you can work from home. Yeah. But it made it made a lot of deep relationships like not as deep anymore, because it turned a lot of people against each other. So I think it made it harder for us to relate like we wanted to, because of political reasons or conspiracy reasons or just things that don't even really matter. Like, the things that matter are the genuine bonds, the genuine relationships that people have between each other, regardless of your politics or of your vaccination status or whatever the fuck, like, people just want to be connected, I think after the pandemic, things kind of got disconnected. A lot more.
People are lonely. Have you ever heard of that rat park experiment? Mm-mm. So there's like this experiment where they put these maybe mice, but they put them in like a little cage or something, and they have one bottle of regular water. They have one bottle of cocaine laced.
Oh yeah, I remember that
water
one.
Bottle, right?
Yeah.
And if you put the rat in there by itself,
straight to the cocaine.
With nothing to do, it eventually gets addicted to the cocaine one and it dies. If you put a rat in a cage with some friends and you give them like play toys and, I don't know, basically you give them relationships and a playground. A playground. They actually, even though the cocaine laced water is available, they don't even drink it.
Right.
And I think it relates to what we talked about earlier with addiction, is that when you're lonely and you feel disconnected, that's when you turn to the drugs, whatever that may be.
Well, I don't know. For me, I guess my story is a little bit different. I started like in middle school. My cocaine was around, weed was around, alcohol. You could get the drug addict on the corner to buy it for you. But when I started selling drugs, this is a very crazy story. So I was probably 14. Me and a few friends of mine, I was living in deep East Oakland, Sobrani Park. And me and a few friends of mine, we were playing dominoes in this garage. And we had a candle because we didn't have a light bulb. So we're back in the garage playing dominoes. And directly out the driveway, across the street, the houses were they all looked alike. Right? So there's a driveway and then there's a house. And across the street, there were these 4 cops. They called them the Riders. These are notorious Oakland cops who were basically dirty cops.
Right.
They're dirty cops. And I think 2 of them are still on the run. So they were selling dope, right, outside. They had their leather jackets, they had their gold rings, watches, cell phones. And they left. One of my buddies grabbed the candle. He ran across the street. So we all followed him. And then we went to behind their garage. And then he grabbed something and we ran back to our garage and closed the garage door.
Yeah.
And he had a bag full of crack.
Yeah.
Crack rocks.
Yeah.
So we started selling crack that we stole from the cops, right?
Across the street.
Across the street, right?
Bro.
So yeah, it's fucking insane. So we had these rocks, and the older dude from all of us, he separated. It was 4 of us. So everybody got an equal amount.
Yeah.
And we started, go pick a spot.
Yeah.
Go pick a spot, pick a corner, and this is your corner now.
Yeah.
So we went from East Oakland, from the deep East Oakland to like the middle East Oakland part of Oakland, and we were taking over other people's spots.
Yeah.
And then, it was.
Did you know it was their spots?
Yeah. I knew it was
kind of dangerous,
spots.
right?
Bro, it took me a few years to realize, like, dude, I could have been murdered.
Yeah,
what the fuck was wrong with me? I was going to other people's spots selling dope on their spot.
Well, that's the thing about stuff like that. It's like, it's more exhilarating when it's dangerous.
Right.
And you're like, damn, I got away with it.
Right.
Like, boom, you're getting that huge dopamine hit. Like,
right. Like, dude, I should not be here right now. Of all the corners I could be standing on, I'm on somebody else's corner. So, I mean, that's how it started, and I would sell out, go get some more. Sell out, go get some more.
Where are you getting more from?
Different dealers.
Oh, okay. So that's how you're saying that's how the habit formed. That's how you got into it. Right?
Like when I first started selling dope, I didn't have to save money to go buy some from somebody. We just stole it from the cops.
Yeah.
And that's what got. I mean,
only once though, right? That first time.
That's it. That's all I needed. I had $300 right there to get myself started into the dope game.
Yeah.
Like free.
Yeah.
$300. And back in the 90s, that's a good start. It was a good start. I was going to Richmond. I was going to San Francisco, all parts of the city, Potrero Hill, all over on somebody else's fucking spot. And I was 13, 14 years old. Wow. It was me and another dude, or me and 2 dudes, We were kids. We were fucking kids. Like, how many times we could have been murdered for fucking stepping on somebody's toes? Yeah. It was too many times.
Yeah.
And then let me try this shit. But I started smoking. When I would smoke it, I was smoking with weed. Right. So I would roll me a joint and I would sprinkle it on my weed. Yeah. And I was hooked for like from the age of 17 to the age of 27.
But you said you were 13. Oh, so you said for 4 years you were just dealing, but you never tried it for 4 years.
No. I mean, we did cocaine, a little bit. Snorted here and there. Yeah. I mean, I knew it was bad. Yeah. I knew, and then I was like, wait, somebody told me, you don't have to smoke it out of a pipe. You can smoke it on your weed. And I was like, what? You can smoke weed with this shit? All right, cool. So I was doing it, and it was more of like a recreational thing, right? Yeah. And then it became a habit. Yeah. Right? It became a bad habit to where I didn't even have friends no more. I didn't even have people that I was going to sell drugs with. It was just like, this is mine. Yeah. This is all mine. I'm going to get high. And it became a problem. I mean, I was robbing people. I was stealing fucking cars. I was breaking into houses. I was burning every bridge with every family member, right? Just because they knew I was fucking up. Yeah. They knew what I was doing after a while. Like 10 years, like I probably weighed about 120 pounds, 115 pounds, I was bad. And I would get clean for a while. And then I would try to I would reach my hand out to family members, my brothers, like, hey, let's go to the park and do something, right? I needed some company, or I'm going to go use again, right? It wasn't like a threat. I'm threatening anybody. It was like, I know that I don't trust myself to be by myself. Yeah. Yeah. Reaching out to family members, friends. Hey man, let's go do something. Yeah. Right. And I kept getting shut down. Yeah. I had burned the bridges already. Yeah, yeah. Well, and they don't trust you anymore. They don't trust me no more, right? So I get it, and then I would fall back down again. And then I'd get myself clean for a while again, and I'd stick my hand out again to try to get some company, and again, I get shunned out, fall down. So I finally just one day, I just was like, you know what? I'm done, right? I didn't go to rehab or nothing. I just fucking got up in the morning, smoked some weed, just straight weed, and ate and went to sleep. Wake up, ate, smoke some weed, and go back to sleep. So I did that for like a few days because I know that if I was awake, there was that little demon in my ear, like, come on, let's go get some of this other shit, right? And I was like, nope, that ain't gonna happen. So I just eat, go to sleep. Get up, get high, eat, go to sleep. Get up, get high. I did it for like a week until I finally, the urge was, it wasn't completely gone, but it was manageable now to where I know I can do some other stuff. I can go run instead of do drugs. I can go do something else instead of do drugs. So it's possible.
Yeah.
Anybody, if you want to break some addiction, it's possible. You just have to find ways to ignore the urge or to suppress the urge or to counter that urge.
Yeah.
For me, falling asleep, being asleep, worked like a charm.
Wow.
You know, because if I'm awake, I'm telling you, that fucking voice was loud and clear. Like, let's go. And I was like, man, the road for that type of lifestyle is not a long road.
What, the addicted lifestyle?
Yeah, it's a very short road, especially that type of. I mean, I robbed drug dealers before to get high. You know, I've done some shit that will probably get you killed. You know, just to get high. You know, it's like fuck. Yeah, it's crazy shit.
Wow.
But now jiu-jitsu is my drug. You know, and I'm thankful. I'm thankful that I got to live that life because it makes me value life more. I've been to jail quite a few times, you know. It makes me appreciate doing laundry, folding my own clothes, you know, putting all the blankets on my bed, you know. I make my bed every morning when I wake up because I appreciate that I have this comfortable thing to sleep on. You know, I slept in a van for a while. You know, I slept in the backseat of a car for a while. That shit is not comfortable. You find a way to make it all right.
I've slept in my van a few times.
That shit is not as good as sleeping in a bed. Right? I take a bed any day over a van. Right?
Thanks for sharing, man. These are...
No, man, I got a lot of stories. And that's why I'm glad that I'm able to share some of it with you to let you know, like, and other people know that, I mean, we all go through some hard shit. We're all going to go through hard shit. Life is not meant to be easy. You know, you just have to forge yourself to be able to deal with what life throws at you, whether it's a career change, whether it's a relationship situation, whether it's even family members. Like, you know, people grow up, they grow apart. That doesn't mean you have to hate somebody. You still love them. You should let them know you're still here because, you know, life is not promised to anybody. You know, I've lost a lot of friends for gangs or violence or drugs or all kind of shit. But there's a few of us still here, you know. And I think that some of the lessons that we learned back in the 80s and the 90s, most people, I'm thankful that I'm able to carry them up to this generation, you know.
You're saying that they live on through you, is that what you're saying?
Some of the shit that they've taught me, the people who are no longer there or no longer here, some of the lessons they've taught me, I can just bring them forward and you know, bring them with me to share with people like you or other people at the gym or my coworkers, because I mean that's how we adapt and evolve, is by learning from our experiences, and you can learn from other people's experiences. You know, I was a firm believer, I think I still am, that we don't always have to learn the hard way. You know, some lessons you do. You got to get your heart broken. You have to. It's part of living. When you get into a relationship with somebody, get your fucking heart broken so you can know what it feels like, right? It hurts like a motherfucker, right? You're like, dude, I can't believe I'm alive and I'm feeling this shit right now, right? It's like, it's important to feel that because when the next time comes around, you'll know, you know. But there's some lessons that you don't have to learn the hard way. You can just read a book, watch a movie, listen to a podcast, listen to a story from a friend.
Yeah.
And somehow it will relate to something. It might not relate to you at that moment, but when something happens in your life and you're like, oh shit, I remember he said this to me. All right. That's what he was talking about. All right. All right.
Yeah. So who in your life, I guess, kind of came to you at a, well, who was one of these people that kind of taught you something that changed your trajectory a little bit? Or
I can't think of anyone that, other than that relationship that I had, because I told her, I was like, I'm going to be a teacher. I want to be a teacher. I was going to school to be a teacher and a musician. I was practicing music, about violin, drums, guitars, everything. I had all the instruments, I had everything. So I was playing with them, and I was actively going to school for teaching. And when she left, I still kept on that same path.
Okay.
Right. So she helped me stay true to my word. Because just because our dreams aren't going to happen doesn't mean that my dreams aren't going to happen. You left. My dreams are still going to happen.
Yeah.
But one of the more influential people in my life was Mike, my jiu-jitsu coach. I can't say of anything specifically that he told me or he said to me, but he did give me the environment and the community to help me figure myself out. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes sense in the sense that sometimes we need to provide people with the space and the opportunity to figure it out themselves. And a lot of people don't get those spaces.
Right. I don't know where my life would be if I wasn't training jiu-jitsu. I mean, the mentality, the compassion, the confidence, the patience, all the things that come with jiu-jitsu, learning jiu-jitsu and being on the mats with these people have just completely changed me into a different person. I would never imagine I would be who I am right now. I feel like I'm 1,000 times more me. Right? It's given me the ability to not be afraid to express myself. In jiu-jitsu, I express myself in so many different ways. It's an art to me. It's not me trying to kick your ass or you trying to kick my ass. It's like, what? I wonder what would happen if I put my foot over there instead of over here, right? And you're like, wait, why would he put his leg over there instead of over here? Right? It doesn't make any sense. But I'm expressing myself, right? And I'm giving you a different look. You're like, wait, this is different. And I got to try something different now.
I mean, you really see people's personalities come out 100%. When they do jiu-jitsu. And
100%.
Yeah, I don't think most people know that. like you really see people are when they do jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. There's no bullshitting in jiu-jitsu. There's no lying. There's no faking the funk. There's no I'm just playing. No, we want to see what you're doing. You know what I mean? Are you really a brown belt? Let's find out. Yeah.
Well, you can tell a lot about people in the sense that you see how much of people's ego is involved. How scared are they? Like, do they, are they super aggressive? Are they like so mad at themselves when they tap?
Right. I've seen that.
Yeah.
I've seen guys where I had to actually tell a guy last week too. I had him in this mean calf slicer, right? I had my forearm right behind his calf and I'm squeezing. He's going after my foot too. He's going after an ankle lock.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at him and I never want to hurt my training partner. So I always slowly finish my submission.
Yeah.
And I got to a point where I'm like, either this dude's shit's going to explode or he's going to tap. It doesn't look like he's going to tap.
Yeah.
So I finally just squeezed up on a little bit, and he tapped.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, don't ever do that shit again.
Yeah.
I said, bro, just fucking tap.
Yeah.
I won't roll with you. If you are not going to play the game fair, we're playing the game, right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to win a trophy for choking you out, right?
Yeah.
We're just playing the game. We're having a chess match right now. And if you don't know how to admit defeat, I'm not going to play with you no more, right? Because I have no problem. If you got me, you got me. I'm going to tap.
Yeah.
Right? Because I'm going to come back tomorrow thinking about what you did to me yesterday and try to figure out how not to let that happen again.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to fucking let myself get injured.
Yeah.
Like, the fuck?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think this is what I was saying earlier about you see who people are. I think, like, it's because the tap represents something to us.
Yeah.
And for a lot of people, and I was like this too, it's like, you know, everyone's got a different reason, but it almost feels like, for some people, it feels like, oh, I'm tired of losing. I'm tired of being the guy who gets beaten up.
I don't want to be the nail anymore.
Yeah. And so you're just, I'm not going to tap.
Right.
And you create this very hard ego defense.
Yep.
And in the long run, it ends up really hurting you and others. And here's another aspect of it. You know, you talked about jiu-jitsu being a martial art and, well, an art, and it's martial art. But what happens is people like this who are so afraid to lose is they can no longer be an artist because they always stick to what they know they're best at. Because their goal is always
to win.
I have to maximize my chances of winning, even in practice.
Right.
And so I think that you don't, you always stick to what you know. Yeah. And you stick to what you're best at. And that's not good for long-term growth.
No, I see a lot of that in the gym.
Yeah.
I see a lot. That's why I always try to make it, and that came to me probably at second or third year. I would have the same roles with the same people. Like I already know what you're going to do. And you already know what I'm going to do, right? I know your 3 or 4 weapons and you know my 3 or 4 weapons. It's kind of boring, right? So that's when I started realizing, like, look, if I know what you're going to do, it's because you know what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
But I'm going to try something a little bit different, right? Because this same role shit that we're having for the past couple of days is just not fun.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try some different things, give you some different looks, and that's going to force you to do the same. Or maybe it might encourage you. It might not force you, but it will encourage you. Like, he's doing some crazy shit. Rolling Kimuras, what the fuck? I never see you do that before. You know, you hit it. Sometimes you hit it. Sometimes you don't, you know. So don't be afraid to be creative. And I wouldn't say I have a style in jiu-jitsu. I just know a few moves. You know. I know how to make you look here while you're supposed to be looking over there. You know, it's part of the game. It's just, I'm always laughing. While I'm rolling, I'm laughing. It's so much fun. I can't wait to get back on the mats.
Yeah. And that's, like I said, you learn a lot about people through how they roll. And I feel like this kind of saying, oh, I'm laughing while I'm rolling. It's analogous to how you look at life. Yeah. Where you're going through life and you're laughing at all this crazy stuff.
Oh my God.
You're trying to enjoy it. You know, and make art.
I guess we're doing this today.
Yeah. But then, you know, there's some people who they come into their roles just like how they come into life. Like, this is a game and I have to win. Yeah. And when you look at life that way, it's just not fun.
Nah. I teach the kids this is the only like analogy I can get through to them with, because they all play video games. Yeah. And I try to explain to them like, hey, this is going to be hard, just like a video game. You're not going to win all the time, just like a video game. I said, but when it starts getting really hard, that's when you're getting to that next level, right? And once it gets easy again, that means you made it to that next level.
Mm.
But remember, it's going to get hard again. And that just means that next level is right around the corner. So you have to gradually get yourself up to those next levels.
Yeah.
You're not going to beat the game on the first try.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're going to have to respawn 1,000 times before you get to that, next level.
Yeah.
Oh, I get it. I was like, but you know what's even better? Is that this is a video game you're playing with your body. You get to do it in real life.
Yeah.
So I think it gets through to them. Oh, yeah, I get it. Do you play Fortnite? No, I don't play video games. I don't even play video games, but I'm using it as an analogy. Yeah, it's funny.
You mentioned there's some conspiracy theories earlier. Which ones do you think are the most compelling and the most important?
Well, for me, I think one of the crazier ones lately is this flat Earth. Like one of the girls, well, somebody asked me, "Are you a flat earther?" And I was like, I mean, I don't really look into the stuff like that, but it does seem to be gaining a lot of popularity.
Yeah.
Like flat Earth. The conspiracies I can go on about. I mean, anything the news tells you is a lie. Anything Pfizer, Moderna, anything they tell you, they're all lying.
Yeah. I just bought a couple books on the Pfizer one. I'm gonna look into it.
It's just crazy, man.
Look into it.
It's crazy. I mean, the government itself is only existent because we believe that they have the power, and people don't realize that the president, he's just a human being like us. The IRS guy, he's just a normal human being just like us. The policeman, they're just normal people. They were all children one day, and now they're adults, but they only have this power because you believe they have this power.
Yeah.
And if people stop believing that anybody has power over them, that's when you take your power back.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I kind of live my life that way in the sense of some of the laws I don't agree with. Some of these mandates I don't agree with. I believe that my moral compass is true. I know the difference between right and wrong. I'm not going to believe any information given to me by anyone before I do my own research on it. When I hurt my hamstring, I went and started Googling.
Yeah.
I already know a little bit of anatomy. I'm not going to ask somebody for help when I can look it up myself. Right? And then I can believe it myself or not. But
that's what's hard about finding truth in. I mean, it's always been hard, but like, let's say you want to investigate some conspiracy theory, it's like you're always going to have two sides, and you're going to have usually the people who are most powerful are the ones who control, they're the winning side. They control the information.
Yeah.
And not only they control the information, but they control the information so that most of the population just believes what they hear first.
Yeah.
And once everybody believes that thing, it's very costly to even try to believe the other thing. So, that's what
they become really rigid in their beliefs. Yeah. And again, there's some people that are that way. I know them. There's some of my training partners. I love them. I respect them, but I'm not going to try to change your mind. If you are steadfast believing in what you believe, even though I know it's wrong, I'm not going to. Yeah. To me, your friendship is worth more to me than me trying to prove that I'm right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But because I love you and I care about you, I'm at least tell you, hey, man, just be careful. But you're not going to get me sucked into that shit. I know the truth, motherfucker. But one of the other conspiracies, like 9/11, I've been watching a lot of those videos lately, and it's like, where's the second plane? No plane hits the second building. There's people on the ground level. They're showing videos of the building exploding, but there's no plane. But when you go to like the CNN footage, they have a plane that's going into the building. And I'm like, well, wait, did they edit that shit into there? Like,
yeah.
But it's crazy nowadays because I see videos from people in Brazil, Mexico, and all these fucking third world countries, other countries, they have like an alien
Yeah.
crawling in their backyard. It's kind of grainy footage and shit. I'm like, bro, that's Photoshop. Come on, bro. Like,
sometimes you can tell. Sometimes you can tell.
Yeah,
a lot of them
sometimes you can tell.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's like, dude, even if it looks, because I've seen some videos of UFOs that look super believable.
Yeah, I've seen
and I'm like, bro,
videos.
there's no way that's real, bro. Like, come on.
So you don't believe in UFOs, aliens, or what? To what extent?
You know what? You ever watched the movie The Truman Show?
Yeah, a long time ago.
That movie really opened up my eyes because I was like, there are people that pay a lot of money or paid a lot of money to make sure that we don't find out about certain shit.
Yes.
Right? And that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, if it's not affecting my life on a day-to-day basis, what can I do over it? There's only things in my life that I have control over. There's so many things. And I have to make sure that I maintain my interaction with those things. Mm-hmm. Because if I start losing control off of one thing, the whole thing starts falling apart. Yeah. So the things that I do have control over, what I eat, go to work, get to class, my paintings or my graphic design, whatever, I can control those things. But some of those other things I try to stay away from. I do firearms training. I do have food and supplies in case of an earthquake or any type of natural disaster. Because, like I said, when the pandemic hit, that turned everybody's life off. You know what I mean? You couldn't plan for some shit like that. Yeah. You could be ready. You could be prepared. If the power grid shuts down, you have electricity. Yeah. If you have canned food to survive for a while. You have a place to go if you need to go. Do you have weapons to protect yourself if you need to? So I just keep myself grounded and then prepared. Ready, prepared for the worst, but always aware of how good life is right now, because it could change in an instant. Look what happened. You remember Hurricane Katrina? They were sending people out there to kill black people, or looters or whatever you want to call them. There were people out there that they were sending snipers to kill people. They were going door to door to take people's guns from them so they can't defend themselves. Fuck that. That shit ain't gonna happen to me. No. So it's just, we're getting closer and closer to some shit jumping off with this presidential election coming up next. And it's just like, the riots are going to start soon, I think. It's almost riot season. Get your riot shoes. Yeah. So that's why I was recommending to you, get your gun license, get you even a shotgun for home, just something to protect yourself. You ain't even got to shoot nobody. You just got to shoot it and let them know, hey, I'm defending myself. Most people will get the fuck out of there. But
I heard it's kind of hard to get a gun in California, though, no?
It's reasonably difficult. I would say that. It's easier. I'd say it was a little bit harder for me because growing up in the neighborhood I grew up in, the person who I was back then, I could have easily thrown away my Second Amendment rights. Yeah. I could have easily just thrown it all away. But surviving all that shit and not getting a felony, that's probably the hardest thing there is to do to get your gun license. Avoiding getting a felony. Once you're clear off of that, you got to get your ID. You got to have a background check, and you got to have a license to buy a gun in California. And a license is like $35. It's 30 questions. They're like multiple choice questions. They're basically common sense questions. And then you have to wait 10 days. So you come to buy a gun, you can put your money down, you give them a copy of your ID and your gun license. And then the day after is when the 10-day waiting period starts. During those 10 days, the Department of Justice is doing a background check. They want to make sure you've never been convicted of a violent crime. I want to make sure you don't have any restraining orders on you. I want to make sure you've never been admitted to like a mental facility or something, a mental hospital. And if you check those boxes, you're a gun owner. You know,
Oh, so it doesn't sound that hard, actually.
it's not. It's really not that hard. But buying a car is easier. And a car is just as dangerous as a gun. You know, you got a bunch of people driving cars who have no fucking idea what the fuck they're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but the car has different use cases.
Right.
The car, people need it to get to work. They need it to get to the store.
Right.
Take the kids to school.
Driving is a privilege.
Driving is a privilege.
Driving is not a right.
It's not.
But I do think that there are a lot of gun owners, legal gun owners. I see them on YouTube and Instagram that are just, they make other people look bad. They make the people like me, I'm not out making stupid videos, drinking a beer and shooting my gun. You know, that's like, first of all, you're not supposed to be drinking while you're shooting.
Yeah.
You know, second of all, you're shooting at the water. If you look at the book, it says do not shoot at water, and you're doing 3 fucking things, right? So, I mean, I'm against that type of idiotic behavior. But I think it is your right to have a gun. And you should be able to defend yourself, especially in today's times.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you said earlier, I think it sounded like you prefer a smaller government, less control over your life. But, you know, do you feel like the government has some good purposes?
I think they used to. Back in the 80s and the 90s, they might have had purpose. But now I think it's just all power and control. It's just,
well, it's always about power and control. But if you
it's just gotten too big.
Yeah.
I think it's gotten way too big. I mean, some of the food that you find in, I never imagined there would be such thing called Beyond Beef.
Yeah.
It's lab grown meat. Right? I never imagined that. Wait, where'd you get that meat from? We made it from a cow. No, we just made it out of some other shit. Like, I never imagined stuff like that. And that type of stuff is being put on the markets in the supermarkets because the FDA is approving it. FDA is a government.
Well, agency. The thing though is that if you didn't have a government, then anybody could make what they want and put it on the market, right?
Yeah.
So the FDA. So that's the thing, right? Is that it's always going to be about power and control. But somebody's always going to have that power and control.
Somebody.
Whoever has the biggest guns.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's all about who you trust.
Right.
And unfortunately, in a lot of other countries, the people are even more corrupt. Look, like U.S. cops are corrupt. Like, come on. But
we try to hide it.
Yeah. Well, we do. I mean, of course, everyone tries to hide it, right? Well,
other governments.
You're right. They don't hide it. Yeah, you're right.
They're like, look at us.
We hide it better. Yeah. But well, that's the thing. It's so bad in other countries that they don't even have to try to hide it. But the point is that we're privileged in America because we've built our wealth off the backs of poor countries, poor people in poor countries, and so we people aren't always fighting for their life. They're, we have less immediate like survival concerns, which I think lets people be a little bit more comfortable and not as much crime and whatnot. But all I'm trying to say is that in other countries, they have to trust governments that are much worse. And if you don't have governments, like, some countries in Africa, like, who runs the city? It's like the warlords in the area, right? Yeah. It's always whoever's got the biggest guns.
Yeah.
And so in America, what we have is like you said, this super huge government that controls everything.
Yeah.
And you better hope that you don't get some really evil people running that thing. I think the founding fathers of America did a good job of the United States, did a good job of creating a system that balanced the powers a bit better than other systems.
Yeah.
And so I think one of the key differences in America is that the executive government, meaning like the president, has less power over the military than a lot of other countries.
Right.
And in on like de jure, like on the paper, the president is the commander in chief. Like he can send the nukes, he can control the army.
Right.
But in practice, the people in the military are loyal to their generals.
Yeah.
They're loyal to the people who really they know, like this
Give
guy
them the orders.
deserved it. This guy has honor. He's got discipline. He's got integrity.
Yeah.
In other countries, it's not so simple. Like you have some new guy take over the government, and he just controls the army.
That's it.
Yeah.
You gotta do what he says.
You gotta do what he says. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's too much coupling between the executive government and the military. Let's say like North Korea or China or things like that. So
Right.
yeah.
You know, I'm thankful to be living in this country.
Yeah,
I think
me
about
too.
living in other countries. I mean, like some of the shit we've said on this podcast could probably get you killed.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you don't have this right in another country.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people seem to forget that.
Yeah. Definitely.
We really have it good here. It's really hard. It's really hard and it's really easy to fail out here because we have it so good.
Yeah.
Like the possibilities for anyone here are endless. You can either rise to the top or just fall all the way to the
Yeah.
bottom.
Yeah.
And anything in between, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like
That's true.
me, myself personally, I live humbly. You know, I don't live beyond my means. And I drive a 42-year-old car, you know. I live 5 minutes from my job. I work, you know, it's retail basically. I'm a merchandiser.
Yeah.
I get to teach kids, you know, and I eat home cooked meals. You know, it
Yeah.
doesn't take a lot to find peace and happiness. You know, sometimes, like I say, laundry is like therapy. Sometimes, like just being able to. I got fucking 50 rash guards. You know, I gotta fold each one up. Like, or I could just be like, damn, I'm gonna wear this shit on Wednesday. You know what I mean? You can look at it like you said,
Yeah,
it's
right,
a perspective. You know.
Yeah.
But
Have you you don't watch that many movies, do you?
the last movie I watched was Idiocracy.
I heard that's
that
so
one?
good. No,
Oh
no.
my
People have been telling me to watch it since middle school. I gotta watch
It's
it.
on
I heard it's so
YouTube.
funny.
It's free on YouTube.
Okay.
That's oh my god, bro. You'd be like, wow. And the movie's like 20-something years old. I
Yeah.
think
Ahead of its time. Yeah.
it's a lot relatable to how
Yeah.
times are today. It's so bonkers. It's a complete circus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All I was gonna say was that, you know, you talk about the joy of doing laundry, and there's this movie that I really love that I've been watching scenes from called Everything Everywhere All at Once.
I've seen the preview to that.
Yeah,
seen
it's a
the
good
preview of
movie.
the
You should watch it. It's about the multiverse.
It's won some awards too.
A lot of awards, yeah. And like Asian cast and whatnot. But like, you know, there's this couple. They're about to get divorced, and the main character, the protagonist, she gets access to the multiverse.
Oh shit.
So she gets to see all the lives that she could have lived with her potential. Like one where she's like a martial arts star.
Wow.
One where she's, you know, like a musician. There's one she's like, I don't know. She can fight. She can. Dude, I haven't watched it in a while. Actually, I'm trying to. The point is that
it's a movie or is it like a series?
It's a movie. It's a movie. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, she's like a secret agent in one or something. I don't know.
Wow.
But she's basically the point is that like she has all these skills and all these different lives because we all have potential.
Yeah.
If we had gone a different path.
Right.
And so she gets access to all of this. But the point is that, you know, once she starts seeing her other potential lives, where she's like in one universe, she's a movie star. She starts going like, damn, I'm like stuck in this life where she runs a laundromat.
Oh shit.
With like kind of like a beta Asian husband who's just like a nice guy and pushover. You know, he's like whatever. He's like a pushover, kind of nerdy, whatever. And but the point is that he, you know, by the end of the film, the husband in a different universe where they're not together because she decided not to run away with him and listen to her parents instead to like probably find someone better or something like that because he wasn't rich or talented, right?
Right.
You know, they lived a poor life in the current universe. He says that in another life, I would have been happy just doing laundry and taxes with you, because in the current life, her life is just about doing laundry and doing taxes.
Right.
It's mundane.
Right.
And when she starts seeing her other lives, she starts going like, "Oh,
exciting."
it's exciting. It's dynamic, and it's wow, But then she's like, she starts to hate even more the life that she lives. She's busy.
Right.
She's doing all this like mundane crap. But I think what you said is really important, is that we can find joy and peace in doing things like laundry. Yeah.
I mean, shit. Why wouldn't you? I mean, it's being able to have clothes. I think I got that from being in jail. Mm-hmm. Being in jail, you're wearing someone else's clothes. Yeah. You're wearing someone else's underwear. You're wearing someone else's socks.
You mean because someone used it before you, or you guys share?
Yeah, it's all somebody else. Yeah, it's been there in the jail for who knows how long. And you just happen to be your size. Right? Somebody else wore them before you. 5 people
never even
wore
thought
them
about
before
that.
you. Yeah. It's all someone T-shirt, the same T-shirt that somebody's wore that 3 or 4 times. Yeah. 4 or 5 different people have wore that.
Yeah,
and they do your laundry in there, and the laundry fucking soaps. I don't even know if they use soap, but it fucking stinks. It fucking stinks when you pull it out. It doesn't smell like it did before you took it off when you wore it, but it just smells like a little bit cleaner. But it's like, it doesn't smell clean. But when you do your own laundry, for me, I just get grateful. Like, damn, like I said, I have so much training gear. Most of my laundry is training gear anyways.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful that I get to do it because I want to make sure my shit's clean. That's one of the reasons why people love me in the gym too, because I never stink. I always fucking smell good, right? Yeah. Because I respect my training partners, right? And because if I have to sit on your fucking face, I don't want it to smell like shit. Because I might have to sit on your face to get that Kimura, right? And I want to be confident in my Kimura when I sit on your face. But for me, it's like I get to be clean, and it helps bring a sense of ease to your training partner, right? Yeah. Because if you I have told people before, like, hey, bro, this fucking rash guard stinks, bro. Yeah. I bought people rash guards because I want to train with you, but not in that fucking rash guard. Here, I'm going to get you a rash guard. Here, buy you a rash guard. Take care of that shit. When that rash guard starts stinking, I'm not training with you no more. Those are the 2 reasons I won't train with someone. Is because 1 is if you stink. Yeah. 2 is if you won't tap. Yeah. If you're egotistical and you won't tap, I don't need to be training with you. Yeah. Because one of us is going to get hurt. Yeah. And I'm cool. I'm going to come back. Yeah. But laundry, it's really important that, I take, that shit is expensive. Rash guards are not fucking cheap, And that's one of my addictions. Like I literally have about 50 or 60 rash guards, and I only wear about 15 of them, right? Some of them I just have because, like, damn, these are cool. So dope. Yeah. Like, I got, this school doesn't even exist anymore. I got one from 10th Planet Long Beach.
They're the collectibles.
Yeah. And they burned down during the pandemic, during 2020.
I saw that.
Yeah. So I fucking got one of their rash guards. I'm like, hell yeah, I'm keeping this shit. Like, that's my healthy addiction.
Mm. Yeah. I was backtracking a bit. You talked about how people in America take for granted their rights. And I worked in a refugee camp for about a month back in 2017 in Greece. And so what happened was there was a couple refugee crises going on. The most famous of them was Syria. Syrian refugee crisis. I think there's a war going on there, and a lot of people were fleeing. But then also, when I got to the camp, so I thought I was going to be seeing all these Muslims and Syrians. I got to the camp, and there was that, but there was the other half was all these African people.
Holy shit! Oh, yeah.
I didn't know, and I didn't know there's all these people fleeing Africa because we don't really put them on the news.
Right.
No one cares because it's always like that. So, but anyway, I befriended this guy from the Congo, and maybe I'll have him on the podcast one of these days.
I'm sure he's got some stories.
He's got stories, man.
Yeah.
But actually, I was just talking to him yesterday. But his dad was on the political party opposing the current people in power. And he's in the Congo, and they're having, I guess, meetings and whatnot, but I don't know the full story. His English wasn't so good back then, but his dad, I think, had written was like a journalist and had written some negative stuff about the current
administration.
Maybe it was either the current administration, current party, or maybe someone who was running. I think it was the current, whatever. It was the current party in power, I think is how it was. And so, there's just one day that there's people at his door, and I can't remember if they kind of came back a subsequent day, but it was either the first or the second time. They knocked on the door, they asked for his dad or something. His dad told them to go, I don't know, hide or be somewhere else, but I think my friend, he knew something was up.
Yeah.
Kind of was trying to protect his dad a little bit, but anyway, they broke in, the masked men. They executed his dad.
Damn.
Right there, and I think his mom too, but I can't. His mom's not alive, so I think that's what happened. And then they raped his sister.
Jesus.
And eventually he fled to
Syria.
To Greece. So eventually they made it to Turkey.
Yeah.
And then they have to cross the Mediterranean on these rafts to the island we were at. It was called Lesbos. But so he was there by himself in Greece. Other Congolese people were fleeing too, but his sister, they relocated her to some other place in Congo, gave her a new identity. But damn, yeah, they're just he had to. Well, I mean, I guess luckily they didn't kill him, but But the point is that free speech is what you're talking about. Is that hey, man, people talk about how Twitter censoring their free speech, and that is true to some extent. These platforms are censoring free speech to some extent. The schools and the companies are, which is and this is why we need to fight for free speech so much. But in other countries, it's you speak out against the leader, and
you might not see tomorrow.
You're just done. So, but that's one of the things I learned through that experience is that wow, in America we have. And a lot of these other countries, we have freedom of speech and freedom of religion.
Yep.
And these other and then I started to kind of be more grateful the fact that we get to watch Conan O'Brien or
whatever
Jay Leno, and they make fun of Trump.
Make fun of the president.
That's like a kind of an American cultural tradition is
roasting the president.
Roast the president. And I love that. And other countries, these powerful men are so insecure. You make
say one wrong thing.
You make a little joke about them, and they're going to send people to your house.
Over for you.
Yeah. So.
No, yeah, that's one of the things I've been doing a lot of thinking lately. Is and I talked to my coach about this the other day. Is I want to do some videos. I'm just thinking about doing videos of highlighting how good we have it in the United States. All our rights and all our freedoms, right? We all have the freedom of speech, Second Amendment, Third Amendment, for all these different rights that we have.
Yeah.
But nobody really knows what those rights mean, right? And the second thing is nobody really cares to look at what responsibilities come with those rights. Because, you have the right to tell somebody to go fuck themselves, right? But there are consequences to doing that, right? They might turn around and bust you in your mouth, right? So there's ways, there's responsibilities that come with these rights. And I was thinking, I'm going to start doing some writing, all the rights that we have, attaching some responsibilities to each of those rights and explaining to these people, to everyone.
Yeah.
You have the right to have as many kids as you want.
Yeah.
Right? But that doesn't mean you have to go have 5 or 6 or 7 of them, right? What what good is one? What good is our 5 if you can't take care of one? You know?
Yeah.
It's your right to do that, but what are the possible outcomes about any of those kids? You know,
Yeah.
There's responsibilities there. You
I
know,
see. Yeah.
same thing with driving cars. Rights and privileges, but there are responsibilities. There has to be responsibilities with all of these things that we are able to do. You know, self-control. Nobody has that anymore. I can go to the bar and have a drink. I don't have to have 6 or 7 of them. You just have one drink, right? You're allowed to go have a drink, but don't get fucked up. Know there's a limit, But I'm still working out some of the kinks on it. It's something that I've been thinking. It's been in the back of my mind for a few weeks now. It's like, yeah, we have rights, but even gun ownership. Like, yeah, you're a gun owner. You're a responsible gun owner. You went through the background check. You got your guns legally. Now, don't fuck that up for the rest of us, right? Mm-hmm. Don't do something stupid. Now you make all the rest of us look stupid. Now, But just some ideas.
Yeah. Well, yeah. These are topics for another time. I mean, I would love to do this again with you. I just love the conversations. Man, you've led an amazing life. You come out the other side, like, I think doing the right thing, the right perspective. Glad that you survived and
me too.
That met you. And anyway, we'll talk again.
Cool.
Thank you so much, Angel.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you. Oh shit. Tune in next time.